In the modern Britain, united under a great leader, it's the housewives of Britain who are getting things moving. Here, a coachload of lovely ladies are on their way to speed up production in a car factory. And here we are, boys. It's the No Hurry Brigade hanging around for endless overtime. And just watch these gallant girls go into action. Not working fast enough? Well, there's an answer for that. Yes, this is certainly the way to speed up production, and this is the recipe for increased productivity to meet the threat of those nasty foreigners when Britain takes a natural place at the head of the British common market. And how's this for a way to beat strikers? Those spotty continental boys will soon have to look out for Mrs. Britain. And talking of windmills, these girls aren't afraid to tilt at the permissive society. Business is booming in the so-called arts, but two can play at that game, chum. And it's not just the modern so-called plastic arts that get the clean-up treatment.
Desdemona.
Come on, dear,
And those continentals had better watch out for their dirty foreign literature. Jean-Paul Sartre and Jean Genet won't know what's hit them. Never mind the foulness of their language. Come 73, they'll all have to write in British. You can keep your fastidious continental B-days, Mrs. Foreigner. Mrs. Britain knows how to keep her feet clean. But she'll battle like bingo boys when it comes to keeping the TV screen clean. Better watch out for those nasty continental girls on the sneaky second channel. But apart from attacking that prurient hotbed of left-wing continentalism at Shepherd's Bush, what else do these ordinary mums think? Do they accept Hegelianism?
No!
Do they prefer Leibniz to Wittgenstein?
Oh, no!
And where do they stand on young people?
Just here,
Their power is growing daily, and when these girls roll their sleeves up, it's arms all the way. Yes, this is the way to fight the constant war against pornography.
Now, it's...
Monty Python's Flying Circus! Specialist? Hello? Are you the brain specialist? No! No, I am not the brain specialist. No, I am not. Yes, I am. My brain hurts. Well, let's take a look at it, Mr. Gumby. No. My brain in my head. Oh. It'll have to come out. Out of my head? Yes. All the bits of it. Nurse! 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 Nurse, take Mr. Gumby to a brain surgeon.
Yes, Doctor.
Where's the lancet?
He's brilliant, you know.
Where's the bloody lancet? My brain hurts too.
Glasses. Moustache. Handkerchief. I'm going to operate! I'm going to operate! Get better brain! Get better brain! Hello! Oh, we forgot the anesthetic!
Good evening. Tonight I'd like to talk to you about... excuse me, this is all wrong. Oh, one moment. Hello again. As I was saying... Oh, wait, this is still not quite right. Sorry. No, sorry, no, not right. This is better. Now, tonight I want to look at the meaning of life in the... This will do nicely. Good evening. Tonight I'd like to talk to you about the meaning of life in the context of...
The 9 o'clock news, which was to have followed, has been cancelled tonight so that we can bring you the quarter-finals of the All-Essex Badminton Championship. Your commentator, as usual, is Edna O'Brien.
Hello, fans. Be going to be sure there's some fine badminton down here in Essex this afternoon. We really...
Yes, Gladys?
There's a man at the door with a moustache.
Tell him I already got one. What's he want then?
He says, do we want a documentary on mollusks?
Mollusks?
Yes!
What's he mean, mollusks?
Mollusks! Gastropods, lamellibranchs, cephalopods.
Oh, mollusks. I thought you said bacon. All right. What's he charged then?
It's free.
Oh, where's he want us to sit?
He says yes.
Good evening. Tonight, mollusks. The mollusk is a soft-bodied, unsegmented invertebrate animal, usually protected by a large shell. One of the most numerous groups of invertebrates, it is exceeded in number of species only by the arthropods. Fizz.
Not very interesting, is it?
What?
I was talking to him.
Oh. Anyway, the typical mollusk, viz. A snail, consists of a prominent muscular portion, the head foot, a visceral mass, and a shell which is secreted by the free edge of the mantle.
Dreadful, isn't it?
What?
I was talking to him.
Oh, well, anyway. In some mollusks, however, viz. Slugs, the shell is absent or rudimentary.
Switch him off.
Whereas in others, viz. Cephalopods, the head foot is greatly modified and forms tentacles, viz. The squid. What you doing?
Switching you off.
Well, don't you like it?
Oh, it's dreadful.
Embarrassing.
Is it?
Yes, it's perfectly awful.
Disgraceful. I don't know how they got the nerve to put it on.
It's so boring.
Well, it's not much of a subject, is it? Be fair.
What do you think, is yours?
Oh, give him another 20 seconds.
All right.
Anyway, the majority of mollusks are included in 3 large groups, the gastropods, the lamellibranchs, and the cephalopods.
We know that.
However, what is more interesting is the mollusk's sex life.
Oh.
Yes, the mollusk mollusk is a randy little fellow whose primitive brain scarcely strays from the subject of you-know-what.
Disgusting.
Ought not to be allowed.
The randiest of the gastropods is the limpet. This hot-blooded little beast with its tent-like shell is always on the job. Its extramarital activities are something startling. Frankly, I don't know how the female limpet finds the time to adhere to the rock face.
How am I doing?
Disgusting.
But more interesting.
Oh, yes.
Another loose-living gastropod is the periwinkle. This shameless little libertine with its characteristic ventral locomotion is not the marrying kind. Anywhere, any time is its motto, up with the shell in their attic.
Lily Branks.
I'm coming to them. The great scholar. Pwah, this tatty, scrofulous old rapist is second in depravity only the common clown. This latter is a right whore, a harlot, a trollopper, cynical, bed-hopping, firm-breasted Rabelaisian bit of seafood that makes Fanny Hill look like a dead pope. And finally, among the lamellibranch bivalves, that most depraved of the old subspecies, the whelk. The whelk is nothing but a homosexual of the worst kind. This gay boy of the gastropods, this queer crustacean, this mincing mollusk, this screaming, prancing, limp-wristed queen of the deep makes me sick.
Have you got one?
Yeah.
Let's get it.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
That'll teach it. Well, thank you for a very interesting programme.
Oh, not at all. Thank you.
Yes, that was very nice.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Good night.
And now a word from the man in the street. Anyway.
Oh, Gucci, 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 would you believe them?
Oh, hey, Gucci, Gucci, hello, and dear little devil, hey, look at him, oh, I look at twinkle in his eye.
This is a sweetie baby. Come here, let me give it a cuddle. Oh, he's a little dear, isn't he? You shouldn't let him suck on a dummy, my dear. Oh, my God. No! Don't touch it!
So, what do you know here?
The Minister for Not Listening to People toured Batley today to investigate allegations of victimisation in home loan improvement grants made last week by the Shadow Minister for judging people at first sight to be marginally worse than they actually are. At the Home Office, the Minister for inserting himself in between chairs and walls in men's clubs was at his desk after a short illness. He spent the morning dealing with the Irish situation and later in the day had long discussions with the Minister for running upstairs two at a time, flinging the door open and saying, "Ha ha, caught you, Mildred." In the Commons, there was another day of heated debate on the third reading of the Trade Practices Bill. Mr. Roland Penrose, the Undersecretary for making deep growling noises, launched a bitter personal attack on the ex-minister for delving deep into a black satin bag and producing a tube of euthymol toothpaste. Later in the debate, the junior minister, for being frightened by any kind of farm machinery, challenged the Undersecretary of State for hiding from Terence Rattigan to produce the current year's trading figures, as supplied by the Department of stealing packets of bandages from the self-service counter at Timothy White's and selling them again at a considerable profit. Parliament rose at 11:30 and, crawling along a dark passageway into the old rectory, broke down the door to the serving hatch, painted the spare room, and next weekend I think they'll be able to make a start on the boys' bedroom. While Amy and Roger, up in London for 2 days, go to see the mysterious Mr. Grenville. He, in turn, has been revealed by Darcy as something less than an honest man. Sybil feels once again a resurgence of her old affection, and she and Boileau return to her little house in Clermont-Ferrand, the kind of two-up, two-down house that most French workers, and indeed most workers throughout the European community, are living in today.
The ease of construction using on-site prefabrication facilities makes cheap housing a reality. The walls of these houses are lined with pre-stressed asbestos, which keeps the house warm and snuggly and ever so safe from the big bad rabbit. He can scratch and scratch for all he's worth, but he just can't get into Porky's house. Where is Porky? Here he is. What a funny little chap. But Porky's one of the lucky ones. He survived the urban upheaval of the 30s and 40s. For him, Jarrow is still just a memory. The hunger marches, the East End riots, the collapse of the Labour government in 1931 are dim reminders of the days before a newfound affluence swept the land, making it clean and tidy and making all the shops full of nice things, lovely choo-choo trains and toys and shiny cars that go brum brum brum, and everybody was happy and singing all the day long, and nobody saw the big bad rabbit ever again.
Well, of course, you know, it's all very easy to blame the big bad rabbit when by-elections are going against the government.
But how often do you think we should really be blaming ourselves? Because, you know, that's where we ought to start looking.
We would like to apologise for the way in which politicians are represented in this programme. It was never our intention to imply that politicians are weak-kneed political time servers who are concerned more with their personal vendettas and private power struggles than the problems of government. Nor to suggest at any point that they sacrifice their credibility by denying free debate on vital matters in the mistaken impression that party unity comes before the well-being of the people they supposedly represent. Nor to imply at any stage that they are squabbling little toadies without an ounce of concern for the vital social problems of today. Nor indeed do we intend that viewers should consider them as crabby, ulcerous little self-seeking vermin with furry legs and an excessive addiction to alcohol and certain explicit sexual practices which some people might find offensive. We are sorry if this impression has come across.
Hello. All the activity you can see here in progress is part of the intricate preparations for the British naval expedition to Lake Tahoe. The leader of the expedition is Sir Jane Russell.
What's the main purpose of your expedition? Well, this is a completely uncharted lake. It's like hitherto unclassified marine life, man. So the whole scene's wide open for scientific exploration.
One can see the immense amount of preparation involved. Have there been many difficulties in setting up this venture?
Well, the real hang-up was with the bread man, but when the top brass pigs came through, we got it together in a couple of moons. Commodore Betty Grable, who's a real sub-aqua head, has got it together diving-wise, and like the whole gig's been a real gas, man.
Thank you. Lieutenant Commander Dorothy Lamore. Dorothy, you're in charge of the security and liaison for this operation.
Right on.
It's all very hush-hush so far, shouldn't it?
Yeah, it's been really heavy, man, with all these freaks from the fascist press trying to blow the whole scene.
There's no doubt about it. This expedition does have some rather unusual aspects, Jim, Dad. For a start, why do the senior personnel all bear the names of Hollywood film stars of the 40s and female ones at that shivery timbers, 'tis the black spot? And secondly, I be not afraid of blind pew. Why do they talk this rather strange, stilted underground jargon? Billy, the main base, Squire Trelawney. This be my ship now, a tranquilizing dart fired by the cowardly BBC Health Department dogs. They done filled me full of chlorpromazine, damn!
I'm sorry about my colleagues' rather unconventional behaviour.
The Navy's out of sight. Come together with the RN. It really is something other than else.
You dig it, man?
Hello. I'm sorry about my colleagues' rather unconventional behaviour just now, but things haven't been too easy for him recently. Trouble at home, rather confidential, so I can't give you all the details. Interesting though they are. The meat base and so forth. Anyway, apparently the girl wasn't even... Anyway, the activity you see behind me... It's the mother I feel sorry for. Oh, I'll start again. The activity you see behind me is part of the preparations for the new naval expedition to Lake Tahoe. The man in charge of this expedition is Vice Admiral Sir John Cunningham. Sir John, hello. Hello.
Oh, hello. Well, first of all, I'd like to apologise for the behaviour of certain of my colleagues you may have seen earlier. But they are from broken homes, circus families and so on. And they are in no way representative of the new, modern, improved British Navy. There is a small, vociferous minority. And may I take this opportunity of emphasising that there is no cannibalism in the British Navy. Absolutely none. And when I say none, I mean there is a certain amount. More than I'm prepared to admit. But all new ratings are warned that if they wake up in the morning and find any tooth marks at all anywhere on their bodies, they're to tell me immediately so that I can immediately take every measure to hush the whole thing up. And finally, necrophilia is right out. Now, This expedition is primarily to investigate reports of cannibalism and necrophilia in... This expedition is primarily to investigate reports of unusual marine life in the as-yet uncharted Lake Tahoe.
And where exactly is the lake?
22A Runcorn Avenue. Yes, that's right, 22A.
Runcorn Avenue?
Yes, it's just by Blenheim Crescent. Do you know it?
You mean it's in an ordinary street?
Of course it's not an ordinary street. It's got a lake in it.
Yes, but
Look, how many streets do you know that have got lakes in them?
I mean, is it very large?
Of course it's not large. You couldn't get a large lake in Runcorn Avenue. You can knock down the tobacconists. Jenkins, no!
I'm now standing in Runcorn Avenue. Sir John, where exactly is the lake?
Let's see. That's 18. That's 20, so this must be the one.
Excuse me,
Yes, this is the one, all right.
But it's an ordinary house.
Look, I'm getting pretty irritated with this line of questioning.
But it doesn't even look like a lake.
Look, your whole approach since this interview started has been to mock the Navy. When I think that for the likes of you, I had both my legs blown off.
You haven't had both your legs blown off?
I was talking metaphorically, you fool. Jenkins, put that down. Right, is the equipment ready?
Diving equipment all ready, man.
Right. Now, quite simply, the approach to Lake Tahoe is up the steps, and then we come to the shores of the lake. Now, I'm going to press the bell just to see if there's anyone in. Hello? Good morning. I'm looking for a Lake Tahoe.
There's a Mr. Paget.
No, a lake.
There's no lake here, mate. This is Runcorn Avenue. What's that camera doing?
Camera? What's he want? Oh, we're on the telly.
He's looking for a lake.
Lake Tahoe.
Oh, you want downstairs, 22A, the basement.
Ah, thank you very much. Good morning. Come on, then, downstairs.
Were you successful, Sir John?
It's in the basement.
In the basement?
Pieces of 8.
Hello?
Oh, I think he's someone about the damp.
Hello?
Tell him about the bleeding rats, too.
Oh, no. Yes.
Good morning. Is this Lake Tahoe?
Well, I don't know about that, but it's bleeding damp.
No. We are the official British naval expedition to this lake. May we come in?
Hang on. Hey!
Bloody sharks.
Get back! Get it! Anyone?
That would appear to be the end of the expedition.
Magna Carta, was it a document signed at Runnymede in 1215 by King John pledging independence to the English barons? Or was it a piece of chewing gum on a bedspread in Dorset? The latter idea is the brainchild of a man new to the field of historical research. Mr. Badger, why are you on this programme?
Well, I think I can answer this question most successfully in mime.
But why Dorset?
Well, I have for a long time been suffering from a species of brain injury, which I incurred during the rigours of childbirth. And I'd like to conclude by putting my finger up my nose.
Mr. Badger, I think you're the silliest person we've ever had on this programme. And so I'm going to ask you to have dinner with me.
My wife, Maureen, ran off with a bottle of Bell's whiskey during the Aberdeen versus Raith Rovers match, which ended in a goalless draw. Robson, particularly in goal, had a magnificent first half. His fine positional sense preventing the build-up of any severe pressure on the suspect Aberdeen defence. McLaughlin missed an easy chance to clinch the game towards the final whistle, but Raith must be well satisfied with their point.
Do please go on. This is the least fascinating conversation I've ever had.
Would you like to order, sir?
Oh, yes, Mr. Badger, what would you like to start with?
I'll have a whiskey to start with.
For first course, sir?
Aye.
And for main course, sir?
I'll have a whiskey for main course, and I'll follow that with a whiskey for pudding.
Yes, sir. And what would you like with it, sir? A whiskey?
No, a bottle of wine.
Fine, sir, he said, between clenched teeth, knowing full well it was the most unrewarding part.
This is the silliest sketch I've ever been in.
Shall we stop it?
You're all right.